Welcome to Delenda est Carthago, a curmudgeons.net podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Andy.
And I'm your other host, Aaron. We're here to cut through the clutter of some of today's headlines.
This is the Andy Loves Acronyms edition of the podcast. All right. Well, I'll plunge in. We're introducing a new segment to the podcast this time. This is the, hey, we promised to follow up on something from the last podcast segment. Yes, we're very bad at naming things and take a long time to do it, so we're not going to. This is about the Why Drones Work article. That was a response to Audrey Kurth Cronin's article that we discussed in the last podcast. And I guess I'll just do a quick summary because it sucked.
Which one? Hers or his?
No, hers wasn't so bad. Remember, there were a couple bright points that we thought, yeah, maybe she has,
Yeah, until we figured out who she worked for.
Well, yeah, that too. But the point is, it at least had some objectivity to it.
Right.
This had none. Essentially, he buys everything the military and the president have said. He says, only bad guys die.
Only bad guys die?
Yeah, we don't kill anybody else. In 2011, there were no accidents where we killed other people. It's just the garbage. I mean, he does go on to, he throws in the normal arguments, but he just dismisses them out of hand. It's really kind of pathetic. He even bought into the whole, the president's been calling recently to back off from our dependence on drone warfare.
Isn't he the guy that authorizes the drone warfare?
Yeah, well, and the guy that, has authorized 8 times as many as George W. Bush did.
Right.
And increasing daily. Anyway, here's a typical statement from this guy. That's being charitable. At the same time, even as it solidifies the drone program, Washington must remain mindful of the built-in limits of low-cost unmanned interventions, since the very convenience of drone warfare risks dragging the United States into conflicts it could otherwise avoid. I have a written-out response that I'd like to read at this point.
Aaron would like to make a statement.
Eloquently said, you empire-loving piss pot. Of course it's fine for us Romans to sit in our recliners and murder people thousands of miles away, because it doesn't cost the empire too much. But just be careful not to actually get us involved in anything further than that. That's essentially what he's saying. It's ridiculous. As long as we're comfy, nobody on our end gets hurt. Okay, let's do it. Kill him.
And the added benefit is it's low cost.
Wow. That's like trying to decide whether or not to put new tires on your car. You haven't slid off the road yet.
That's the definition of a fiscal conservative.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, all right, just to illustrate the foreign policy genius at work here, I went to read the article. Remember, it was on
Foreign Policy Magazine.
Yes, which is the journal of the Foreign Policy Institute or some other. Yes, went to their website, and it's I don't remember what they called it, like a featured article or something. So you have to log in and be a member and everything else to read it. Mm-hmm. So, in 1.5 seconds, I was reading it on, let's see, where did I get this?
You stole it?
Brookings.edu. This guy published it elsewhere. So you're charging for something that I can get free if I have enough brain to type in the name of the article and hit enter on Google. Freaking brainiacs. No wonder they act the way they do.
I think you were expecting too much.
I was. It's sad but true.
It's and you have to remember who his audience is too. He's just they pay him.
Clones of him. Yeah, it's like me and my 17 children.
I also actually have an update that I promised to follow up on from last time. You may remember that I sent our friend Audrey, Kurth Cronin, the woman that wrote the other article, an invitation to connect on LinkedIn. And a couple days later, she did view my profile, but she did not accept my invitation. So
it's odd.
It's very strange. I don't know why. She must be picky or something.
Well, what's funny is you don't even have like curmudgeons.net on your profile on LinkedIn. At least I hope if you ever want to have another job, you don't have it.
I might have it there, actually.
Are you serious? You're insane. Oh, well, never mind.
I don't want to have another job.
Well, and you're a, techie. All you techies, it doesn't matter.
It's true. Actually, something I posted the other day, somebody on LinkedIn liked it, so.
Dude, I'm telling you. The people who will soon be, I don't know. Here's the thing. If you guys weren't like that, you guys would be ruling the world now anyway. Well, you probably do. Well, no one else knows it. But if you guys really were all statists, you really would rule the world.
That's true.
So,
It's a good thing only the people that work for the NSA are statists.
Oh, my goodness, yes. That's like, you know what, though? I think about it, and it's like all the people who wanted to have something to do with the internet or computers or networking or security or any of that stuff, they took like the 1% of true jerks, and that's who works for the NSA.
I think you're right. Yep.
I'm sure there's a few other people scattered throughout your industry that are horrible, evil people, but yeah, I think they pretty much gathered everybody they could into that one little thing.
I agree. All right, so that was our update from last time.
Yes.
People don't expect this to be a recurring...
Holy cow, they prepared!
Don't expect that either.
Yeah, no.
So, for our discussion round this week, we have about 127 different things to talk about. And most of them didn't even happen in the last 2 weeks. They happened in the last 26 hours.
Yeah.
I'll start with maybe a couple here. You can jump in. So the first one, and these are not necessarily in the right order because I can't even remember what order they happened in. It was literally just a barrage.
Yes.
The first one being that the UK decides to stop Glenn Greenwald's, I think the right word is partner, David Miranda, I think is his name. And
feel free to hold your nose for a moment if you need to.
And hold him in custody and steal all of his electronic possessions, and then tell him that if he doesn't give them his passwords to the hard drives, his email accounts, and all his social media passwords, that he's going to prison.
Which is actually true.
That he would have gone to prison?
Well, the law does provide for that.
Yeah, if they suspect him of being working on terroristic plots or something, right?
Yep.
So...
Well, that's real journalism to them. Real journalism is like a terroristic plot for the government.
It's terroristic to them, that's true. So, my understanding, he was actually employed by The Guardian at that time, right?
They paid for his plane tickets and everything.
So he was held for the maximum time under this wonderful UK law.
Yes.
9 hours.
Yep.
And I believe The Guardian sent lawyers to the airport, and finally they let him go, but they have all of his stuff, which I'm sure is not a problem because Glenn Greenwald knows how to use encryption.
Right, exactly, yeah.
But I did read that he did win some kind of court case already, and that was only a few days ago, right?
Yeah, I saw this morning, actually, that they were bringing a lawsuit, so...
Yeah, and they were granted some kind of injunction against the government or whoever it was that stopped him using any of the information that they might get off of the media.
Yeah.
So...
Well, and the thing that kills me is this just backs up my previous statements about brown-skinned people. Obviously, the Brits, what other reason would they have for suspecting him of terrorism?
Right. Well, it's not. I don't believe in coincidence, and it's ludicrous for them to just be like, "Well, we had to check these drives to make sure he wasn't, like, come on, guys." And then the fact that they notified the U.S. like
in advance.
The guy is a Brazilian citizen coming from...
Yeah, why are you not calling Brazil?
Transiting through the UK to go home, and you called the US to let them know that we got this guy that's... ridiculous.
Yeah, well, that just reminds me of a certain representative of another country whose flight got downed here recently.
I believe that was another South American country, Bolivia.
Yeah, it's funny. It's almost like there's this giant bully pushing everyone around.
It's almost like NSA and GCHQ are like buddies or something. It's almost like they're one entity.
Yeah, that's funny.
That brings me to my second story, which is about the GCHQ. Conveniently. So, this must have been after the Miranda incident.
Yes, I believe so.
Let me just back up and say, I laughed quite hard reading the story about Miranda being held in custody without a lawyer.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, my goodness. Well, look. I just want to let everyone in the UK know. Well, you were screwed anyway. You're in the UK.
And the NSA.
But, what?
And the NSA.
No. Just the people in the UK. You guys are light years ahead of us. By that, I mean you have no freedom at all.
You've already reached the pinnacle of...
Yeah. You already live in a totalitarian state.
Yes.
You have cameras watching everything you do. You really have no freedoms. You can't defend yourselves. You can't own weapons. Give up, people.
Did you see the article? Google, not being evil at all, is now working on an app for the Google glasses that will let the cops wear them and access any of the cameras.
Yes.
So they can watch cameras all around other streets while they're watching you.
Yeah. Apparently, some of that 1% I mentioned earlier now work for Google.
That's right. They're not evil. Well, they're not trying to be evil. That's their slogan, right?
Yeah, well, I have a theory rattling around in my brain. You always see the James Bond movies. Oh, there's always some shadowy figure, and it's this giant corporate entity that
Spectre.
Still can amazingly live right out in the open on their nice yacht and everything else. Oh, wait. Isn't that Google now?
Yeah.
Yes, Google. We use Google Drive for our show notes. And feel free to steal them anytime you want. You already know who we are.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a minute. So after Miranda is held without a lawyer, the GCHQ, which for those of you who aren't familiar is the equivalent of the NSA in the UK, NSA's little brother, I would call it.
I just don't know why they don't go by the James Bond number and letter system. Why do these guys have to be so special?
They follow the John le Carre.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you're right.
It's the circus.
Yep.
So these guys are so brilliant. They march into the Guardian's headquarters and demand that all of the hard drives with all the NSA files be smashed.
Yep.
And
I think they drilled holes in them.
They used angle grinders and drill bits and all kinds of things. And the Guardian editor, Alan Roosbridger, said, this is a quote, he said, "It was a rather bizarre situation in which I explained to them that there were other copies, and as with WikiLeaks, we weren't working in London alone, so destroying a copy in London seemed to me a slightly pointless task that didn't take account of the way that digital information works these days."
You know what it is? I just realized GCHQ needs some sort of intellectual property drill. Where it just drills all of the intellectual property at once. Right?
It could be.
We'll have to ask Bobby.
The tone of this guy, the editor, Alan, was just... He's like, you couldn't even believe that even these guys were so stupid that they would think this was the only copy and that they could destroy this information if they destroyed these files.
That's actually what I really like about the quote that you chose to put in here, because it really gets at that tone, without having the inflection or anything else.
You can just imagine a guy with a British accent. It's a rather bizarre situation.
Seemed to be slightly pointless.
And I read somewhere that somebody likened this to the movie Zoolander. If you've never seen it, is the guy is a male model turned spy, so he's got about an IQ of like 80. And they tell him and his buddy that the files are in the computer, and they spend the next like 20 minutes beating the computer up trying to get the files out of the computer.
Yeah, I actually went and found this because I haven't seen that movie.
Oh.
And I like how it turns into the scene from 2001: A Space Odyssey. They even put the music in and everything. It's fantastic.
It's great.
Everyone should go see it. I'm sure we'll link to it.
We'll link to that clip. Unfortunately, that's the funniest part of that movie.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So anyway, the NSA continues. So this one, the only comment that I had is the only thing this can be is because they're not that stupid. It's just intimidation, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just we're gonna come in here and smash up your hard drives and.
Well, they want to be seen doing something. Thuggery doesn't work in the background.
Yeah. Well, and technically, they didn't actually do the destroying of the hard drives.
Well, right, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, the Guardian did it because they had a choice of either handing over the drives or smashing them, right? So they said, well, we have another copy. Why don't we just destroy them so we don't cause ourselves any issue by giving something away, right?
Exactly, right.
But the point remains, it's about thuggery, and it's the mafia, right? They will come break your legs if you don't.
Well, this is right. In this case, it's actually better for them to do it this way, because now they can sit back and say, we didn't actually go there and destroy anything.
That's right. You guys decided to do it on your own.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, to be continued, I guess. I don't know.
I'm sure there's more to come yet on that.
Weren't they already doing all their reporting outside of London anyway? I mean, Grunwald lives in Brazil now.
Yes. Yep. Oh my goodness, that guy! I know he'll come back, but he should never come back here.
He should never come back. I don't think I'm not sure he will. Why would he?
I don't know. Why would you? That's a good point.
I mean, Brazil's not a fantastic place to live, but it's no.
It's getting awfully expensive in Brazil.
It's very expensive. Yes. Yeah. Well,
you'd be better off in I don't know, Belize or somewhere.
As soon as they figure out that they can grow faster by removing all those taxes,
it
might be a pretty nice place.
As soon as the Mises Institute, Brazil,
takes off.
Yeah, as soon as that takes off, they're good to go.
All right, our next story, and maybe the worst one.
Speaking of holding your nose as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Chelsea Manning.
I refuse to call him Chelsea.
The only reason I did it is because I knew that he would be annoyed by it. All right, so Bradley Manning was sentenced to 35 years in prison. You've got a statement here. Dang.
I do have a statement.
Somebody's prepared. Who do we have? Who's our intern?
We're still out looking for an intern.
Our kids need to grow up quicker.
We haven't found anyone that's willing to pay us to work for us.
Let's see here. This is the part that I really liked. In our zeal to kill the enemy, we internally debated the definition of torture. We held individuals at Guantanamo for years without due process. We inexplicably turned a blind eye to torture and executions by the Iraqi government, and we stomached countless other acts in the name of our war on terror. The only thing he screws up there is it's not really a war on terror, right?
No, it's not. It's a war on anyone opposed to the U.S. government.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he references some other stuff in here. The Trail of Tears, the Dred Scott decision, McCarthyism, Japanese-American internment camps. That's actually a good one. And then a quote from Howard Zinn, "There is not a flag large enough to cover the shame of killing innocent people."
Yeah. Unless you're Mr. Bynum, apparently, who has no problem with killing innocent people.
His flag is big.
Byman, sorry. Not Bynum.
Bynum and
whatever.
Bidman.
Imperial piss pot, as I'll stick with. That's the best description.
This statement is supposed to be sent to Obama. It's a request, basically, for a pardon. So he's sentenced to 35 years. He gets credit for 3 years-ish, right? And he has to serve at least 8 or 10 before he's eligible for parole.
Yeah, it's I think I read a third.
No, some more. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, not with the time served. So I think it is 8, but that's including the time served. Or I'm sorry, it's not including the time served. Yeah. So 8 additional years.
So there's so many things about this. One, I wanted to get a list of all the people that have committed heinous crimes that didn't serve even the third of the 35 years he'll have to serve. But in addition to that, a couple people's comments here. One of them being Rand Paul, who just goes down on my up or down on my scum meter. I don't know which direction is better on that, or worse.
He increases his number of hits on the scum meter.
He does.
It's probably the best way to say it, I guess.
And this article is not great. It's from DL Magazine. The title of the article has Rand Paul quoted as saying he doesn't have a lot of sympathy. The body of the article doesn't actually have the quote, so I'm not sure, but the tone is the same.
Yeah.
He's not really uncomfortable at all by the fact that Manning is going to serve so many years in prison for exposing criminal acts by criminals.
Yeah.
It's not a problem for him. He says, quote, "There do have to be laws to protect some secrets. I think if you got the plans on how to make a nuclear bomb, that is a state secret. If you give that to the enemy, that is being treasonous." Now, let's just pause here and say, is that what Bradley Manning did, was give the plans to how to build a nuclear bomb to someone else?
As my wife would tell you, I'm a giant fan of hyperbole. However,
this
might be just a little beyond the
he's like way out of my league here.
Exactly.
He goes on, even if you reveal it, you have to have laws against that. What Manning did was just willy-nilly, just released millions of pages of things, and I think some people have said there is potentially some harm from that. Somebody I know once said that there might have been some problems with what that guy might have done. Maybe.
The worst part about this is like holding... I don't know how to attack this the correct direction, but how old was Bradley Manning when he went into the
Oh yeah, teenager, right?
He was a teenager. We would let him vote, probably.
Yeah.
But we won't let him drink alcohol. But he's got to make this decision to not.
He also can't
tell the world that we're murderers.
Yeah, he also can't buy a handgun.
Right? Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous.
But he took.
It's disturbing that you expect a level of commitment. Well, this is exactly what the military does. It preys on people who are not ready to make the decision. That's a large contingent of it. Or they're forced to make that decision by their circumstances. It's a sick and twisted way of recruitment. This is not a volunteer army. It's almost conscription of the masses,
in the
poor
true,
and underprivileged. It's not.
In the true libertarian sense, it's voluntary, but they don't go after people who are free thinkers and can.
Exactly.
You know, it's worse because Rand just almost contradicts himself here, and says Snowden. We're skipping now. Snowden, if he were here, could make the defense. Well, I released this information because I'm a whistleblower. I'm telling you the head of the intelligence agency isn't telling the truth, so I'm correcting a lie by another official. Now, if we go back to Bradley Manning, was he not correcting lies by officials that we weren't just murdering people in Iraq.
Sure seems like that's exactly what he was doing to me.
Rand goes on to say, some have said he would have had an easier time with that argument if he had come to a member of Congress and gone through, my favorite part of this, the official whistleblower kind of pathway. Now, I didn't bother to go to the Senate website, but I'm going to guess there's no official whistleblower pathway page that I can click on.
Sure there is. It's right next to the free speech zone.
It's the petition that I put out for Obama to look at. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, you'll find it between the free speech zone and change.org.
Yes, that's right.
It's right between the two of them.
He finishes, I think they still, speaking about Snowden, I think they still would have probably put him in jail and thrown away the key. So it's like, he really should have come to Congress and gone through the correct channel, whatever that is, and we would have put him in jail.
Yeah.
But, Bradley Manning, that guy, he just leaked all this stuff and maybe hurt some people in the process, although we have no evidence of that.
Well, and another...
I'd even go so far to say, I don't even care, honestly. If you're doing things that are so horrific that the information about those things getting out will get you killed, maybe you shouldn't be doing them.
Yes. The other thing that kills me is that Snowden gets a pass, Manning doesn't. Is the NSA really all that much different from the military?
No, it is. They're all the same.
Exactly. So how is it any different?
Well, Rand is part of the establishment. He has to maintain this illusion that there is some difference between the different branches of the government, right?
I'm beginning to think, okay, his father said about him the other day that, and I loved how he couched this, because he did at least say, compared to the other candidates, he's suitable to be the president.
I do feel bad for Ron.
He's got to couch his words like that,
It's terrible.
Yeah.
So let's move on from Rand for a second, because this is almost worse. And I don't know how to go about this one, but today
Andy's heart was broken.
Oh, terrible. I was actually really surprised. So
I was too.
On Reddit today, Ron Paul had they call it a Ask Me Anything, an AMA, or I don't know how they pronounce it, but this is the question that came from Carl Duran Bruch. It says, my question is about Bradley Manning. How do you think his trial should have been handled? On the one hand, I appreciate his bravery and sacrifice in the pursuit of transparency in government, but on the other hand, he did break the law. Do you think his sentence is too strict, too lenient, or do you think he shouldn't have been punished at all? This is Ron Paul's answer. He should have been punished because he confessed to breaking the law and he did practice civil disobedience. So he deserves some punishment, but he has already received, in my estimation, excessive amounts of punishment, 3 years, torture, blah, blah, blah. He did a great service by letting people know the truth. He's a whistleblower. The courts didn't even charge him with aiding the enemy, and I believe his goal was to inform the American people of the truth about what's happening in Iraq and Afghanistan. I don't understand this at all. How can he say he should be punished because he broke the law, as if an unjust law is any law at all? So as long as we write a law saying that you can't tell people about all of the illegal and immoral things we do, then you're going to be punished if you break that law, but we won't be punished for breaking the other laws. I don't understand this at all. Can you explain it to me?
I just keep thinking that he's forgotten to include in this first sentence, he should have known he was going to be punished because he confessed to breaking the law and did practice civil disobedience.
Well, and that's what I...
Got it. That's fine.
I can't tell because you never know how, with somebody typing this form as, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but it seems to be pretty clear he's saying...
It just goes on and on about it.
That he should have been, it says, so he deserves some punishment.
Yeah.
So that implies that he thinks that this law... It's almost like you'd have to disagree with the idea of nullification then, right?
Yeah, essentially.
The jury had no right not to convict him of breaking the law, which he did, admittedly. But we're talking about, is the law just, and does it really apply in this case, right? We go back to Rand's statements about giving away nuclear secrets, which I don't care about that either, but even if you did, shouldn't the jury have the right to nullify the law in this case?
You would certainly think so.
It's disturbing
I
to me.
do see a bad... there's a certain amount of... I don't know. I don't know how to even say this. Obviously, we don't believe in the social contract, right?
Right.
But that's because we didn't actually sign up for anything. Whereas when you go in the military, you really do sign up for it. And the only thing I can think is that Ron is somehow using that angle as part of this. But even then, I don't get it.
Yeah, even then, it doesn't... Because nothing can trump morality, right?
Right,
and
exactly.
What about his superior's oath, right? And their obligation not to commit atrocities, right?
Yep.
Or condone atrocities. Yeah, very disturbing. I don't know. I might have to...
I'm really hoping that there's a clarification or a something. Because this is not...
This isn't the Ron Paul I know.
No.
I mean,
no.
I've heard him talk about civil disobedience before and how people... And that's how he's always talked about it before, is that people should
expect to be punished for it.
And if you know, he thinks it's good to practice civil disobedience, but you should know what's going to happen, right?
Right, yeah, exactly.
So maybe we'll just pause on this one and say maybe there'll be a correction, or maybe we can figure out what he actually meant, or
yeah, hopefully we can have hopefully we'll have an expansion or some sort of follow-up in the next podcast.
Yep.
Oh, man.
All right, we got a few more stories to plow through here.
My goodness, it's only been 3 hours?
I know, we're on a roll tonight, actually.
Yeah.
I put this one in here. I guess I have to talk about it. So, apparently the NSA can see 75% of U.S. internet traffic. This one isn't really so much of a shock as a chuckle, right, when you see the headline. Like,
yes.
This is what Glenn Greenwald has done for us. He's made us so cynical about the NSA, which is a great thing. Like,
you know, I keep going back and forth about that. I keep thinking, what are they really doing that they're hiding by letting this out?
I don't know. I think it's clear at this point that they're really pissed at Greenwald.
Oh yeah. Yes.
This isn't like, we'll let him have those little breadcrumbs over there so he doesn't look over here.
Oh, just so you know, remember last podcast you mentioned that you saw Ed Snowden?
Yes.
And he was a server at a restaurant?
That's right.
Well, on Sunday, my family and I were at, I'm going to tell the NSA just so they know straight up, at Border Cafe.
They knew that already. That's where we were.
Are you serious? But he was eating there. This time he was eating. I'm not joking.
That's where we were, that he was serving.
Oh, my word. He was like 2 tables over from us.
It must be
fantastic.
That must be the waiter eating there.
I'm sure.
Looks just like him, doesn't it?
Oh, my word, yes. No glasses, though.
Hey, he didn't have his glasses on, huh?
No glasses. I was surprised.
Maybe they're like cloning him or something, and there's DuPont has like a little factory somewhere where they make Snowdens.
And the Russian Ed Snowden is like the clone that went wrong.
I just watched that X-Files episode the other day. The guy's dripping green blood. Anyway, yeah, so the NSA can see pretty much all the internet traffic. This one is not a surprise. I think it's just they put a number to it. You kind of figured, well, we knew they've got their equipment in all of the telcos and all the POPs, sucking the data right off the wires.
Yeah.
You know, I'm actually still convinced that they can't crack quality encryption, so I think it's probably more important than ever to encrypt all your stuff that you really don't want anybody to see. Yeah. If they could, they wouldn't still be working on quantum computers.
Yeah, that's true.
They might be able to crack some of the encryption, but I think it's not instant. It takes them a while, so the harder we can make it on them, the better. So,
well, that's the case no matter what.
That, and I like the red herrings where you just throw out random words in your emails and your phone calls to just like trigger their systems. So, of course, the Utah data center is so big that they probably have plenty of computing capacity to handle the three of us that are protesting.
Yeah, true.
You, me, and Glenn.
Yeah, well, there might be, a few other people, but
there might be 5 of us.
Yeah. I think there might even be 6.
You're the optimist between us.
Yeah, it's true.
My next fun topic, and I can only assume that these are all the same ones you would have picked as well.
Yes, pretty much.
Time reporter Michael Grunwald sends a tweet the other day, and if I was prepared, I would have the actual tweet up here. So give me 1 second.
You were close to prepare.
I was
really
so close. It said, all right, here we go. It said, I can't wait to write a defense of the drone strike that takes out Julian Assange. There's not a lot to say about this except the whole internet replied to Grunwald on Twitter. And he
lost.
He lost. He issued, we'll call it a pseudo apology. It's the standard crap. People didn't take that very well, and this is going to affect my paycheck, so I better say something to assuage them. He basically said, as all like politicians do, it was a stupid mistake. It was a stupid thing to do, right? Not like
it was stupid of me to say what I really think.
I shouldn't have said that out loud. What was I thinking?
Did you see the picture that Reason has of this smug, pompous ass?
My gosh,
to say the least.
He looks like he's. It's almost like it's one of the headshots for like somebody on SNL that's doing that to look smug, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
We're gonna put his picture out there for sure. Yeah.
Draw a mustache on it, would you? Because there's something wrong with this guy.
There is something wrong. He's actually not making a face.
Yeah, that's his face.
That's just his
face.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going for the I don't know. I feel like he's trying to be Clint Eastwood or something, but.
Here's what he said. He said it was a dumb tweet. And this is my favorite part. It was a dumb tweet. I'm sorry. I deserve the backlash. Now, he could have just stopped there, but instead, he parentheses, maybe not the anti-Semitic stuff, but otherwise I asked for it. Like, I can just throw anti-Semitic out there, and that'll take care of at least half of my guilt in this.
Well, I'm back to being the victim now.
Yes. Why are you people attacking me? Is it because I'm Jewish?
Which, anyway. Of course, that's horrible. Not that he's Jewish. I mean, that somebody would attack him for it. I can see that being misconstrued across America by 2 of our listeners.
Aaron tweeted.
Yeah, exactly.
It's terrible that Michael Grunwald is Jewish.
Yes, I would definitely condemn someone being anti-Semitic. However, throwing it out to get yourself out of trouble, that just makes you more of a
replying to anyone on Twitter that is attacking you for your ethnicity is just ridiculous. Why would you even waste your time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Of course, you'd have to be on Twitter to have something like that happen. I say stupid things all the time, but nobody hears them.
Nobody hears.
It's bliss.
How do you get away with that? I don't write them down and post them to the internet.
It's funny.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
There you go. They always forget about the nothing lost part of that equation.
Crap. So our next story is...
It's like you can only write 3 letters, Andy. I'm sorry, type 3 letters.
It's like that, but it's also like Melitha and how I told you that story before about Google Drive and how they're evil, so I could tell you this one.
Yep.
So I think this just came out today that somebody in the German government was warned that Windows 8 actually has links to the NSA, surprisingly, and that there's a backdoor that will allow them to control it.
It's almost like somebody wrote that right into the software.
Well, it's even worse than that. It's much worse than that. So, a long time ago, in internet time, like, I don't know, 7 years or so,
yeah,
the hardware companies and Microsoft started, and I believe legitimately, or what they said legitimately, was for a different reason, which was DRM at the time, right? They were so concerned that pirating music and videos was going to put the studios and the recording industry out of business that they were going to help with it, and they started building this thing called the Trusted Computing Platform. And they basically put chips in the computers. They're actually inside the CPUs, built by Intel and harnessed by the power of Microsoft, that can enable or disable software, enable or disable you to play music and watch videos and so forth. And apparently this is what, up until Windows 7, it was optional to turn it on. In Windows 8, it's on by default. It can't be turned off, or else basically you turn your laptop into a boat anchor. And this is what allows...
That's what a Windows 8 laptop is anyway, right?
I'm sorry, whose Skype has crashed 6 times in the past 14 minutes? This technology is what allows Microsoft to remote into your computer, and also apparently what allows the NSA now to watch everything you're doing. So I would say that maybe we should get off of Google Drive and Gmail, but I'm not sure it matters whether I store the information locally, because they'll just read it right off of my drive anyway.
Right, exactly.
So we're all going to the FEMA farm at some point.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather not go through the hassle of having to change my email address first.
Well, and the thing is, you want to be there first so you can get the good bunks.
That's right. On our way back from vacation in Florida, we stopped in I'm going to call it Augustine, because that's what it was named for. St. Augustine Beach, Florida, at the Castillo de San Marcos. It's a 350-year-old Spanish fort. Pretty cool. It's like a castle. Kids loved it. Lots of cannons and moats and stuff like that. But we walked into the one room doing the self-guided tour, and it's the bunk room, and they have an actual Spanish bunk from the era. And it's a bunk bed, normal height. The ceiling's a little low in that room. I'm like, oh, that's not too bad. It's pretty wide. It's like double, maybe 1.5 times the size of like a normal bed. A little shorter. So I'm walking away, and they're still reading the plaque, and they're like, no, that's for 4 people. There's 4 hooks for your coat, your wool coat, to go over top of your wool vest and your wool pants, and 4 places for your musket. And you all got into bed 2 and 2, nice and cozy in the 105-degree, 400% humidity Florida swamp.
My goodness.
It made me think, we can get people to sign up for the Army now, and we promise them, like, college things, right? What? All you have to do is make your mark on this paper, and I'll send you across the sea for 3 months. Maybe you'll die on the way, and when you get there, you'll be eaten alive by mosquitoes. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But apparently governments have been doing this for hundreds and thousands of years. Yeah,
well, it was the same thing back then. It was, I'll let you out of debtor's prison if you go in the military.
Yeah, right. Yep. The other interesting thing, the guide, he gave a presentation, right, in the courtyard. He's dressed in the costume, all but the coat, and it's hot. He's standing in the sun. We're all standing in the shade. And he's wearing he's got the hat on, too. And on the hat, there's like a ribbon, right? And it's red. And he says, anybody know what this is? And I can't remember the exact name. It's like a cocknade or something. It's an emblem, but it's just a piece of cloth. And it's the only way you can tell any soldier apart on the battlefield and which army they're fighting for, because they all wear the same hat. They just wear a different color. Well, isn't that telling now?
Yeah. Well, what kills me is that just backs up our claim that the reason that we have to murder all the brown people is because they all look the same.
Yeah. We could They weren't wearing hats at the
If
time.
they had different colored ribbons,
we would have known.
We would only kill the bad ones.
That's right. Well,
with our drones.
The drones are smart enough to see those.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
All right. We're almost done.
I promise.
This one, so I said all of these stories happened recently. This one literally
They all involve, what is it with you and acronyms?
That's right. I love acronyms. They have not all been acronyms. NSA is only in like half of them.
NSA, GQ, CBH, what the heck is it called? I forget. GCHQ.
Yes.
UK.
Yeah, I do like acronyms, you're right. Well, I'm an IT guy. That's all.
AMA? AMA?
That's right. I actually had to look that one up.
So but you probably enjoyed it.
Yeah, not so much.
I'm learning a new acronym. Oh, that's bliss.
It wasn't IT related, so. This one, I said they were recent. This one happened 10 hours ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
NASDAQ crashed today.
No.
All right, let me try again. NASDAQ halted trading for 3 hours.
Yes.
They did do that.
Yes. Yeah.
Now,
they needed a break.
Yeah, from about noon to 3:25 exactly, when they resumed trading. I think that, I don't know how many people committed suicide on Wall Street. But
oh my goodness, I can't imagine.
They were nice enough to let their customers cancel orders if they wanted to during that time frame. Zero Hedge thinks that it was Apple stock or something to do with Apple stock that caused this. They have a chart that makes no sense to me at all.
Yeah, these financial guys, they're worse than you people.
They really are. Their acronyms, they have a lot more acronyms in that article.
Yeah.
I'll link to it, but so
he'll link to it, but don't read it.
Don't read it.
Trust me.
The chart's pretty. It's got a lot of colorful dots and lines and stuff. It's like modern art.
It looks like monkeys flung dung on a screen.
It does. And the funny thing is Zero Hedge has highlighted like areas of time where they say, here, this shows.
Look at this. It clearly shows. What?
I could have easily highlighted the other parts of the screen. Either way.
And you know, what kills me is you would almost think they were smart based on this.
You would. Now, it could be that it has something to do with Apple stock.
Good.
I'm more inclined to think it has something to do with bonds right now and maybe ETFs associated with bonds. But that's just me because I don't believe in coincidences. Other articles that I read already, and of course everyone just writes something when this happens.
Oh, yep.
You know, they think it was a distributed denial of service attack. And as I said to you just a few minutes ago, I don't think these people understand how the internet works.
No.
Because the NASDAQ trades are not executed on the internet. There's a great XKCD comic from probably a year or two ago about hackers and people that deface websites, and it was somebody hacked in and took down the CIA's website. It's like, what really happened? Someone ripped down a poster that the CIA put up. You know?
Exactly.
That's basically what people are doing when they attack a website. They're not taking down the core business unless all the business is done online. So any NASDAQ trades that I did from my iPad
has
no
internet. One seen Trading Places?
I have seen that, yes.
There's a floor. There's an actual floor. They still actually do that crap.
There is a floor. Not in NASDAQ, there's not.
Well, that's not true. Yeah, you're right.
New York Stock Exchange.
It's the same idea, though.
Yeah, well, even the New York Stock Exchange is mostly electronic still, even though there's...
Yeah, they're just not doing it with paper and screaming.
Right. Yeah, they're
but
screaming
it's not like
and
it's
then they
online.
they type it in after they scream at each other. Yeah.
Exactly.
So...
We're on corn! Sorry.
That's right. Pork bellies.
Pork bellies, that's right.
So this one will be interesting to unravel. This one is really tough because NASDAQ is so terrible at IT, apparently. This is like the 5th crash they've had.
Well, you know.
Or glitch, or whatever they're calling it today. So it could be that they just suck at their job, or it could be that they are also been co-opted for whatever reasons. You know, somebody had a trade that was going to go the wrong way at the wrong time, and they put in a call. You know, we remember we saw Kramer how many years ago, back during the '08 bust, right, or beforehand, yelling about he would just call the guy up and tell him to just, you know, sell 100 million shares of that and drive the price down, please. So we know this happens.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, it's one of those things. It's a financial institution.
Yes.
Anymore, there are no good financial institutions. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
They're all out. I shouldn't say that. They're not all out to cheat you. They're all out to lie and make money off of you.
Yes. Well, and we know especially that these exchanges are, again, back to regulation. They're so in tight, and the articles even say this. The SEC was on a conference bridge like moments after this halt happened, right? It's like they've got a bat phone that they pick up, right? And they're all online together talking about what they can do, right? This is how independent they are from the government, right? And the regulators.
Well, and okay, this is how I think that conversation went down. Oh, yeah, we had to do this. All right, let's not make it on the hour that we come back on, because that looks suspicious. All right, well, we got to wait at least 3 hours, right? Oh, yeah, you can't go any less than 3 hours. So what do you think about, like, I don't know, 3:20-ish?
It was better than that. It was because they kept changing it. It was like 1:30. No. 2:50. No. And they kept moving it, and then it was like in increments of 5 minutes, and then finally,
that's what I'm trying to get at. How it's baloney that it can happen on the 5-minute mark.
There's a playbook.
Oh yeah, I know. No, it's all about minimizing expectations. It's essentially public relations.
Well, their excuse was they were coordinating with the other exchanges on when to start trading again. Like, that's not how this works.
Right.
You get a trade, you execute it. Anyway.
Next time, I'm just going to go to Vegas, because it's the same thing.
It's probably better odds, honestly.
It might be. Yeah, it's true.
That's my last story for this week.
That's it.
And I have
no more.
I've got nothing else.
I'm out. I was actually going to do some more history on Oliver Cromwell, since you had to bring him up last time, but I decided I don't hate myself enough to read more about that guy.
All right, maybe next time. Maybe you'll feel
Maybe next time. Maybe we'll have a history segment next time. That's more of the news than is fit to print. So, yeah, I think we're fresh out.
For sure. All right. On January 12th of this year, Robert Ethan Saylor, a 26-year-old man with Down syndrome, was murdered by 3 off-duty Frederick County, Maryland sheriff deputies when he refused to leave a movie theater because he wanted to see the show a second time. The 3 deputies have been cleared of all wrongdoing, but Ethan's sister, Emma, is petitioning Maryland Governor Martin O'Malley to appoint a special prosecutor and conduct an actual investigation. Please join us in supporting Emma's petition to bring Ethan's killers to justice by signing the Change.org petition, which you will find in the show notes of this podcast. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Send us your suggestions, links, or show ideas, and please remember to rate our blog posts. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll be back in 2 weeks. When the TSA detains Aaron under the Patriot Act, confiscates all his electronics, finds nothing but 325 versions of the Jolly Roger, I will send oranges, not lawyers, and Grunwald and Byman will be sure to write a stirring defense of the TSA. Until then, spit on your hands and hoist the black flag.